Hi people. As you may know, I like taking on challenges that requires creative solutions, such as trying to solo dungeons. And once I've managed to solo the dungeon, I start trying to find ways to make it worthwhile, be it experience, gold or gear. This time I spent some time inside Zul'Farrak. On my hunter, starting at level 44, I've been soloing the zombies in the graveyard. I figured I'd share what I've learned. Make sure to look in the description for timestamps. Let's start off with some numbers. This farm seems to give 38,000 experience per hour at level 44, and I'm well aware that that isn't extremely high. When I did quests with a friend in Tanaris, we averaged 34k experience per hour. You get about 780 to 840 experience per kill, and it is rather simple. It is also worth noting that this method gives you a stable and easy way of grinding experience. You don't have to run here and there and hunt mobs, find new quests, travel to new zones, or look for dungeon groups and pray that the people you play with are good enough. You simply depend on your own skill. And about 38k experience per hour, about 800 experience per kill, and there are perhaps 40 zombies in the graveyard. Now, if you were to attempt this yourself, you need to be a hunter. Or at least, if you want to try to do this the way I do it, you need to be a hunter. I started doing it at level 44, and you need a pet with dash. I'd also recommend speccing marksmanship. Getting to the graveyard inside Zul'Farrak is actually rather easy once you get the hang of it. The basic principle is to use the Eye of the Beasts, run ahead with your pet and pull everything, then run as far ahead as you can, then cancel the channeling effects. Now simply run to a safe spot and feign death. Wait until the mobs have resetted, call out your pet, heal it full and repeat. I will show you the whole footage of me getting to the graveyard, but I will only comment whenever I see it fitting. Check the description to get to the next section of the video. As I mentioned earlier, you will need a pet with the dash, and luckily hyenas have dash and Tanaris is full of them. So, if you need dash, simply tame an hyena and use it for the run. Use a dash, make sure to aggro the mobs, and keep running ahead. Avoid pressing escape, as that will cancel the channeling effect. The place I'm at right now is another safe spot. No patrols will aggro you if you stand here. So recall your pets, heal it full, and then repeat. In case there are a lot of casters or ranged mobs, you might want to try and line of sight your pet as much as you can. Make use of the big rocks on the walls. A safe spot in this room is right here. Make sure to wait until your feign death is off cooldown before you try and do anything. If you're caught in a bad spot and feign death isn't off cooldown, you might very well die. A good idea, despite me not doing it, is to have track humanoids active. Then you can see where patrols are on the map. Note that Tekka the Martyr is actually undead and won't be seen on the minimap even with track humanoids. Make sure to hug the right side of the wall to avoid pulling that patrol in the left room. Alright, so now we've made it to the graveyard. What do we do now? The first thing you should do is clear the 2 patrolling mobs. The method I'm using is basically juggling the mobs back and forth by jumping across these walls. If you aren't experienced with the jump, you should have Aspect of the Shida active. Once you feel more secure at the jump, you can keep Aspect of the Hawk active. To get onto the wall in the first place, you will need Aspect of the Shida. So let's say you've made the jump. and you're ready to start killing. You should first clear the 2 patrolling mobs, pull them while standing on the wall and start the kiting. If you spend some points in survival, you can make the frost trap very strong. Turn off growl on your pets and just have it attack the mob. Kite back and forth. Be careful when using frost trap on several mobs if you've taken the talent in survival, as it's random which mobs that get rooted. It might split the mobs up too much. Try and counter this by concussive shooting the first mob. When it comes to opening the graves, the first thing you want to do is aggro the boss. Then run away a bit and feign death. Now what happens when you open the graves is that the zombies will first run to the boss and then run back to smack you in the face. So, open a few graves, run away a bit and feign death. Your pet might aggro if it's placed in a bad spot, so just avoid that. If it should happen, just let your pet die and wait for the mobs to reset. Now, once that is done, make your way back to the top of the wall and pull the mobs. If you can't reach them with your ranged weapon, just use your pet and the eyes of the beasts. Avoid dying, obviously. If you die, you need to make your way back to the graveyard. As for my gear, it is the following. Obviously, this farm is more effective if you got better gear. As for talents, I'm using the following. I'm basically trying to maximize ranged DPS. The entrapment and clever trap talents in survival allows you to keep a mob stuck in place with your frost trap for a very long time. You see, the chance of entangling the mob is counted per each application of the frost trap slow, and a new slow is applied about once every other second. And so, while the mob stands there, looking stupid, unable to move, the entanglement might reapply. It is a very useful thing. I use Hunter's Mark, Rapid Fire, Aimed Shot, Multi-Shot and Frost Trap. I think Serpent Sting is too mana inefficient to use. And so, you can now solo farm the graveyard in Zul'Farrak as a hunter. I hope you found this interesting and that you're excited to try it out on your hunter. By the way, I've started streaming since a week ago or so. Check the description for a link. Feel free to check in and ask questions or so if you have any. I hope you found this interesting and enjoyed watching. Like if you liked it, and subscribe if you also think soloing Dire Maul Tribute sounds fun.